I guess just talk about moving to Vegas and kind of what triggered that and why you think it's a good idea for your career.
Well, there's a lot of things. Well, first of all, my move to Vegas, it happened rather fast. It wasn't something I had planned on doing. It was something that kind of came up and what was needed. I was at Strong Style for 13 years, and I felt that we couldn't agree to disagree on some of the ways that needed trained for future fights. It was time for me to make a decision for myself, and instead of joining another team and doing all these different things, which I did end up joining a team, I joined Extreme Couture, but the main reason I moved to Las Vegas was for the UFC Performance Institute and all that the UFC as a whole has to offer. I think a lot of people have no idea what is offered to us here, and as all of the just extra things that we can utilize. I'm 32. I'm not a young fighter anymore. I feel like my knowledge is there and is in the best possible position I can be in for a title fight. But my body needs better recovery, and this is the place to do it. It has everything I need here.
What about Vegas as a living place so far? What have you thought?
I've enjoyed it, but it's been, since I got here 11 weeks ago, it hit the ground running. We have a title fight. We knew the title fight was coming. We didn't have an exact date, but we knew it was coming at the time. So it was like, we just got to get here and get to work.
What would it mean to you to win a belt?
I mean, it would mean everything. It means everything I've ever wanted. I've been asking for this weight class, and if any of you guys have been true supporters of me or even followed my career, you'd know that 125 has been the division I've been asking for a long time, and it's no discredit on any other female, in the division or at all, but this is my division, and I think that I'm here for a purpose, and I'm here to make a change, in a lot of different ways, not only by the fighter that I am, but by the person I am, and I really want to inspire people. We always get caught up on, how bad things are, and I was four losses in and was about to get cut and was given an opportunity because I didn't give up on me, and that goes a long way, because most times when most people start losing, they give up on themselves. So that wasn't something I did.
Do you remember where you were or how you heard they were going to create a 125-pound division?
I was actually at practice, and they had announced it on Twitter, and it's kind of crazy how the time changes and everything works here, because now I understand it, but we were getting ready to go into a sparring day at the gym, and I was sitting in the bathroom and just scrolling through Twitter, and they announced that they were doing a tough 125, and I went running out to Marcus, and I was like, Marcus, they're doing a women's flyweight division. The flyweight division is here. It's here. Like, it's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It's everything I ever wanted. It's right here. It's a true lane to succeed in, a true chance at success, and a true chance at showing, not only everyone else, but like showing myself of something that I felt so strongly about that I know is there, and I've proven it, and I will keep proving it. I will retire on the top of this division, and whether or not other people believe me, I know that the ones that matter the most, and those are the guys that stand in the corner. And if I'm lucky to have people who join the Believe team outside of it, then lucky me,
When you're speaking about the team and you're creating this team, are you acting kind of as your own head coach, or is there a person that's brought in? Is there an acting head coach that you have to kind of help shape the direction of your training for this camp?
There's a head cornerman, but then this is a team. And that's what we get so caught up on, is that if it wasn't just a team, if it wasn't a team, if it was a one-person show, then why would I use the word team? There's different times when when other people lead to the direction that they need to lead in. So Eric Nixick, who we would say acting as the head cornerman, is followed by Gray and Darren and, my brother, who is there because he understands me, right? Like, he understands my language, and expression and what I'm doing in fights. So each time, we work together. So if there's a day when it's my turn to lead, it's when I say it's too much training, or I need a day off, or this is how I'm feeling. So again, that's sometimes why we get so screwed up here in this sport, right? Like, it's not a one-man show. Not one guy gets to make all the calls. It's a true team effort. Everybody gets a voice.
In coming out here in this process of starting the whole team and moving, what's maybe the biggest thing that you've learned throughout this whole process? Maybe either about yourself or how the fight game works. What's the biggest thing you've learned after all this?
Change is good. It's okay if things don't always go as planned, but if you're one of the fortunate ones in this sport, you know how to plug and play. So that means if it's a last minute opponent change, if it's a last minute exercise change, if it means that coach can't come today because of something happening and it's a change, but to be flexible. You know, try not to focus so hard on the exact moment, but just work with what you have. And I've realized that now, that even on days that I expected to have a good day, I woke up and I had a bad day, and I had to turn it around and go, you know what? It's not a bad day. It's going to be a good day because we're going to shift gears. So that's been the biggest thing I've learned. I think that being here in Las Vegas has been a lot less stressful than any of my other camps. I don't know why. I mean, I can assume a couple things. You know, I love the house that I live in. I love having a pool. I love the ability to have everything I have here, the food, the nutrition, the help. You know, the staff has been incredible, and they just, even on days, you know, that I feel a little less about myself, they were there to pick us up, and that's what they're here to do. You know, I don't care if they're telling, you know, Valentina the same thing. You know, I make it my own.
And you kind of alluded to there, is Vegas the long-term goal? Is there any plans in the future to go back to Cleveland or go further west? I mean, where's the plan to stay in Vegas for the immediate future and heading forward?
I want Jessica I presence throughout the entire world. So if it means I'm here and I get a little bit of there and a bunch of different spots, I just want to spread good energy, and I want to spread truly, you know, my mission statement. And my mission statement really in the world is social disapproval, or self-belief is better than social disapproval. And point in case, losing 4 fights in a row where people just destroyed me through using social media and other things, that, again, my self-belief never changed. You know, there was self-doubt, but the self-belief in me never changed, and I want to keep adding that. So if I'm able to go back to Cleveland, bring him a belt, show him what's up, bring it back to Vegas because this is where the belt lives, and then to be able to take it places that maybe a UFC belt could never be or has never went, I'd love to go there and show people that opportunity.
You've had a lot of experience going the distance in fights, coming out on the winning side of those decisions. Given what you've seen out of Valentina so far, how much of a factor do you think that would be in your fight with stamina, endurance, and the fact that you've had experience in grinding out victories?
So I definitely think that that's something that needs to be taken into credit and into her game plan, right? Like I am a slow starter. I know that about myself. It's why I've changed how I warm up in the back. But to take someone into 5 rounds, I'd love to take them there. I'd love to drag them out in that. You know, like what better than to get a more chance, you know, get a couple more minutes to beat someone up. You know, that's what I'm in this sport to do. So, and I think that being under those lights makes a difference, right? Like, you remember in school when you would you got the 4 o'clock game, but then you're like, oh, wait a minute, the 7 o'clock game under the lights, right? Like, that's the one that feels the best. And I feel like I've been given a lot of opportunity to do that, right? To go the distance. But I think that now that I know that I can go the distance, I've done it so well, it's time to put my foot down on the pedal. It is time to show people why I believe so much. And that means sometimes you gotta floor it. You gotta go right through the red light.
I know you couldn't take this fight as quickly as it was offered because of your recovery time from the last fight. Mm-hmm. Was there a sense of relief once this thing was committed to paper? Because as we know, sometimes when things get offered for whatever reason, they're not there once you're ready. Was there a little bit of stress hanging over you that once you got it on paper, you're like?
Absolutely. I had the December fight, and I've talked about it publicly a couple times. I don't know where it started happening in there. I think it was a matter of getting clipped a couple times and wanted to make sure my jaw was ready. I've been biting through my lip pretty bad, pretty significantly. Even down to this last fight when I fought Caitlin in Toronto, I bit completely through the mouthpiece, a brand new mouthpiece. Fight night I bit from tooth to tooth all the way through it and bit straight through my lip, hot dog style, or was it hamburger style? So for me, like, I wanted that. I knew it was gonna happen from there. I knew that the title fight would be offered. I won 3 straight. Caitlin was the #1 contender at the time. So that night, we ended up getting 7 stitches in my lip, but from doing that, I bit so hard and my jaw so strong, I knocked both of my front 2 teeth loose. So I bit through them, and which made them loose. So went back and had already been working with my dentist on better ways to stop biting, because this is the 3rd time now that I bit through it at 125, and it hurts. Biting through your lip hurts, guys. So you just take my word for it.
Was this from a punch or?
I'm doing it. I'm getting like that when I'm going to hit. So I'm sucking in and biting down like there. So I bit down through there the one time. The other time I bit directly through it, through here. And I think I might be getting hit during some of it, but I know that we had watched some things and it looked like I was sucking in for bracing to punch somebody. So at any rate, started working with my dentist. I had my suspension. Well, within that time of my 30-day suspension, I was offered to fight her February 22nd in, I don't know, I think Czechoslovakia is where the actual card was. But I was not going to be released to go back to training until January 14th. So, when I got offered the fight, I was like, look, guys, I can't do anything. They want to splint my teeth, or I have to leave it go and just let them breathe, your gums tighten back up. So I was like, I can't get back into training or sparring. If I go back into sparring January 14th and the fight is less than a month away for the biggest fight I've been asking for, at what point do I say, hey, let's schedule the fight, and what happens if my tooth gets hit and I get an infection, which had happened to me previously. Dana had helped me out years back. I had gotten an infection, broke some of my teeth from fighting. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but fighters, their teeth are terrible. I've lost 4 teeth this year. So you're biting through them. You're trying to clinch, you're trying to make sure that glass jaw doesn't exist. So I broke some teeth throughout that time. So I was like, hey, I can't lose my 2 front teeth, right? That'll take me out even longer. So let's just give it some time. I'll get released later on in January. Let's get the fight later. So they were like, well, we're going to have to give the fight to somebody else. And of course I was devastated. I'm like, there it goes. And I had to make that decision. I go, do I take this fight for you guys? And then what, I have to pull out a week before the fight because I have a mouth infection because my teeth haven't, are still moving. You could literally move my teeth. Or do we wait and take this the right way and do it under the right circumstances? And we do it in the Midwest in January since there's a Chicago show. So at first they were like, no. A couple of days went by, and I was just an emotional wreck. I mean, it was pretty devastating, right? Like, you're finally given that call. You finally hear it, like, vocalized, right? And then now it's not going to happen. So I ended up calling Mick, and I was like, hey, Mick, I just want to say, thank you. Please let me know. I'd love to have the winner. I'll gladly wait. If it means I have to wait a little bit longer, I'll wait for the winner of whoever you decide to schedule Valentina against. And he's like, yeah, we got a replacement. I was like, wow, that really sucks. And he's like, no, we got a replacement for the entire card. You're good. I'm like, I'm good? Oh, okay then, fine, great. So that was when it was like a waiting game on like when the fight was gonna be scheduled next. So at that point, they basically let me know, hey, it's gonna be you still. You're still getting the title shot. It's just a matter of when.
And you're 3-0 since going to flyweight. Other than that being your natural weight class, can you give us an idea of the day-to-day difference for you of being at 125 in terms of preparation, training? What's different than it was day-to-day when you were having to fight heavier?
At bantamweight, like, I just didn't have to do as much, right? Like, I didn't have to worry about the food, and I didn't have to, it was like constantly, my best analogy is like, okay, you have a glass of water, and this glass of water is always supposed to be half full, right? Just because it's how the glass is, you're seeing it. So you got this half full glass. When I'm at bantamweight, I'm just constantly filling it up. Oh, it's getting close, better drink a little bit, filling it up, drink a little bit to fill it back up. That I never really cared as much, right? As long as the glass wasn't tipping over and spilling over, but then there was all these excess things. Start putting on more weight. My mechanics started to change in my fights, and my fight style. I was a little bit slower, I wasn't as fast, and I just kind of let myself just go in a way. And then there was a lot of emotional things going on. I was dealing with some things with my father and my family, and just maybe not making the best out of camp and out of cage decisions for myself emotionally. So when the division, after I'd taken some time off, after my loss against Betch Correa in Cleveland, I started taking some time off. I ended up getting a blood clot from birth control, which I am completely against birth control now, and understanding that some of the things that go along with it. I got the blood clot, had to change some things, got off birth control, and just lost a massive amount of weight. So I'm like, wow, I'm losing weight again, and I feel lighter, and I feel like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm only 135 pounds, this is what I fight at, right? Like, then I started liking my body again, and I was like, ooh, what if I can be better at 135? Like, what if I can be the best 135 or at 135, right? Go back to the old boxing mentality, right? Only walk a couple pounds off your weight. So we get scheduled against Aspen Ladd. They're like, Jess, win this fight. And at this time, the Ultimate Fighter 125 is already going on right now. So they're like, all right, Jess, win Aspen, okay? And then we'll let you have 125. We'll let you go back down to it. And I'm like, deal, that's it. I'm doing it, right? So at this point, it's July 6th here in Las Vegas a couple years ago. I'm like way underweight. We're so underweight, I don't even like bread. I'm eating bread on fight week just for like scare tactics, walking out with a sandwich in my hand. I'm like, ooh, look who's 132. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, made weight perfect, right? So I'm like, all right, we've taken all this time off. I've seen a sports psychologist. I did what Dana, felt I needed to do, take some time off. My father had been passed, some family things had settled. Life just was good, right? Like, I was happy. My family that I have, my brother, me and my youngest brother had an even better relationship. My oldest brother, was back around, found, the woman that he loved, and everything just started going great. And we're like, all right, things are finally moving in the right direction. We get the Aspen fight, we're in the back, warming up, getting our hand dropped. I'm like, oh, this is it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get back on track. We're gonna win this, and we're gonna take over the 25 division. And then the fight is canceled 40 minutes before the fight is actually supposed to happen. And I'm just like, here we go again, right? Like, what's going on? And Dana calls me and says, look, I'm so sorry. I know how hard you've been working. I know that the weight cut was easy. We can get you another fight here in a couple weeks. You can fight at 25, because that's what my demand was like, look, I've been begging you, like, please let me fight at 125. Please let me fight there once, just once. I'll show you something great. And they were like, you know what? We'll get back to you. You can have your next fight at 125. And I'm like, whoo, that's it. You said it. I'm holding you to it. So then we get scheduled. This time it's in July. We get scheduled against Paige Van Zandt going into October 7th. I'm like, all right, Paige Van Zandt, right? Huge following, right? I'm gonna make my debut against, a high volume star, right? That has all this following. It's a perfect time to put myself back on track and to open up doors, not just by getting the title, but like all these other things I get to do, right? Because let's face it, the world loves winners, right? They don't like losers. Unfortunately, the loser doesn't get the job, which sucks, right? Because we don't even know what's making this loser lose. Maybe they need a little bit of inspiration from all of you guys. Maybe get behind the loser for once instead of just the winner. So they schedule a fight. We're going all the way through camp, and the week before we're supposed to leave for the fight, they cancel the fight. Paige has been hurt. I'm like, oh man. So no fight now, right? So I'm like, well, why don't we push it back? They go, okay, we'll push it back. We go back to December. I'm like, all right, here we go again. Got the fight pushed back to December. We get about 2 weeks out from December, cancel the fight again. Fight's been canceled. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, right? Like, what's going on? Bad juju, what is it? Finally, I get a call from Dana and Mick, and they say, look, we got you a fight, we promise. It's not her, it's not this person, it's gonna be Kalindra, it's gonna be in St. Louis. And really at that point, I was like, I don't care who it is, can they just make weight, and can we just fight? And then they're like, oh, it's a fight pass card, and everybody's like, oh, well, who wants to fight on a fight pass card? I'm like, I don't care. It's on I think it was on a Sunday night. I didn't care. I wanted it. I'm like, ooh, less eyes. I don't care. Fine. We don't need anybody there. We'll go over there and make the show. And we showed up at St. Louis, and then that's when it's all started. So here we are, almost a year and a half later.
What was it that you talked about keeping the belief in yourself and how that important that was when you lost 4 in a row? How did you do that? Where did you find that inside yourself?
Just I don't. It was because I knew that this wasn't forever. I just knew something inside. I can't explain it, you know. It kind of goes back to when people say you have these feelings and that intuition. I just felt like there was something always keeping me hanging on. And, you know, gosh, I get chills to even think about it right now because I just believed it so much that I was going to be a world champ one day. I've said it from the beginning when I started this sport, when nobody even cared about MMA, that I could be there. And I think I can finally give people some true inspiration. We always talk about inspiration and, oh, this person did this and they were the first, but what about the person who didn't give up on himself? Why can't we glorify that person, you know? Somebody who actually went through something and is now, you know, never gave up on themselves.
You've put a lot of, I guess, value into the mental preparation of the game. And for you, on the journey that you've had, what was the main thing that really helped you to turn around your mentality as a fighter, to keep that strength about yourself? Like you said, like...
Probably after my dad died, which was shortly around my last fight at bantamweight, the one against Betchkohea. I think that's really when it started to happen. There was a lot of things me and my family struggled with, and I think a lot of that emotion wasn't the best. But you know, long story short, our relationship wasn't great with my father, but I know he loved me, and I know that my life changed whenever he passed and he wasn't suffering anymore, and neither was I, you know, and I was able to let go of some things that were really emotionally shackling me to the ground and also shackling me as a fighter that, listen, when I go in there, I really truly feel alive. I think before I thought that I felt alive, but now I do, and I think these last couple fights show it. And as much as people say that, you know, they don't like my ugly crying face afterwards, that's all the emotion. And believe me, I don't care if anybody cares. It's everything that I've ever went through comes out a little bit, and it was ugly. Believe me, you can take my word for it.
This week, the UFC penned a deal with the cannabis company up in Canada, and they're going to do research with CBD. What are your thoughts on that, and do you think you'll participate in some of that research?
Huge advocate of marijuana and CBD. My dad died from brain cancer, GBM, which is a very aggressive style of brain cancer, but it's something that marijuana helps, right? And CBD is known to help. I would love to be able to change that image of being able to use CBD. I use CBD before every fight, and I have my last 3 fights specifically. And I've noticed such a better person in there and less anxiety that I think sometimes people give this crazy persona on what CBD and THC actually do, but there are some medical benefits. I'm a highly anxious person, and doing that makes me less anxious and gives me, I don't know, better self-belief, because I'm able to control that jitteriness that I get before the fight.
How important?
And I mean, and on top of it, like if anybody knows anything about CBD, all of our CBD receptors are in our brain. All of us are taking headshots.
How important do you think it'll be to actually do more research? How, you know, for the use of that?
Well, the more research we have, the more that the mass, you know, world believes. You know, like I know what I know because I research it, right? And I spend the time doing that. But I mean, let's face it, the average world is not going to sit around and spend an hour to research something on their phone about something they don't even know about, right? And until it applies them, until they have a traumatic brain injury, right? Then they're going to realize, like, oh, wait a minute, what outside of big pharma can I do to help myself, right? Like, what else can I do that is going to naturally help the body?
There was a tweet, I think you mentioned about some video that Valentina posted, and she was kind of like putting like more fast to kind of, can you comment on that?
I feel like I have annoyed her so much, but she doesn't, I mean, again, right? Like, most things are going to be taken out of context. I could say that's stupid, and the way that you guys quote it, right? The way that you put the image out there, they're going to be like, she is such a terrible person. She's a bully. She just picks on people. So again, I don't know if she really sped up video. It looks sped up. I'm not gonna lie, it did. I seen a video where she was working out here, and other people had tagged me in it, and you know, because the internet trolls, like Valentina's have to tag me something in her IG for someone not to tag me in it, to be scrolling through the internet and it comes up and we see it. So that's how I seen it, and it looked like it had been sped up. I know that other people have done it, maybe they haven't, but I know by saying it annoyed a bunch of people, and got things going, right? Like, who knows if she did or didn't? You know what I mean? Like, it did look like it. I mean, the cars were going super fast, and I know that other people have done that before, and I don't blame her. Why not? Why not? Why not do that? Why not throw a little bit of mental tactic in there? What do you think I did to say something to her? You know, I mean, me and her aren't being rude to each other, right? Like, but there needs to be some kind of poking of the bear here. You know, two people are about to.
And how do you see her as a champion in this division?
I think I can do it better. I think I'll keep it at that. I'll keep my opinions to myself on that one. I just think I can do it better.
You said there has to be poking, but you guys are training in the same UFC. I mean, how much conversation is there?
She said, so, I'm extremely hard of hearing, right? Like, I don't know what it is, I guess we'll cauliflower in the ears, something. But one day we were in the bathroom and, I think it might have been around the time that I posted that or said something about that. I don't even know. And mind you, JoJo's here. JoJo's the backup, right? Like, so we're all here right now. Listen, I am not going to fight anybody outside that octagon. I want the money. I want the money, right? Like, I need to make my life better, right? Fighting you here only emotionally makes things worse, right? Makes me more mad than it does me just saying, hey, I'm gonna save it so I can make sure I have a paycheck, right? So I think the girls are a little bit smarter in that way than the guys are. Like, anyways, it was shortly after something was said like that, and we're both like basically changing in the bathroom, which is already super awkward, right? Like, so like her and her sister are in there, and you know, I'm just like, all right, well, I'll just change with my butt facing you. And as soon as I was done, I'm pretty sure she said, you will have jumps next. I think that's what she said, because that was kind of the tone of what she said it, but I'm really hard of hearing, and I'm not really good at understanding people with accents, so like, I literally was like, huh? Right, yeah. And that's all I said. So like, I feel like, I don't know if she knows, like if she like thinks I was being a smart ass then too, but like, I kind of gave that, like, you know, when someone says something to you and you're like, well, what? Oh yeah, right. It's kind of what I feel like, but I think what she said is you'll get your chance soon. I think. So, we've been on each other, who cares? I'm trying to level up my own life. I'm not trying to fight anybody for free.
You know, fighting in the octagon almost seems, because you know what you've gone through in your life, like it'd be a relief for you.
It is.
Is it like therapeutic for you?
It has now. It never used to be that way, and I bless my father in so many ways, but I think the passing of him allowed me to let go of some very emotional things that finally I'm not getting physically hit is something I have had happen to me my entire life, even into my young adulthood with my father, and it was one of the reasons why we stopped speaking. Before, I used to make myself feel kind of like a victim to it. Now I'm using it as a way to remember feeling, right? Like, I remember being in some of those emotional moments with my father, and remember talking myself to be calm, right? Because getting more mad made him more mad, or getting more emotional made him more emotional. So I've learned how to apply that in the fights better these days, that I'm not getting emotional in the wrong way in the fight. I'm getting emotional in the right way, and I'm making the correct decisions and not freezing.
Cool.
Thank you.
Are we good?
Thanks.
I would drop the mic, but I don't know.